everybody, and welcome to this regularly scheduled Waterville Planning Board meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So the first item on the agenda is approval of the August 9th meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
April.
April.
And David?
Yes, that was me.
April
made
and-
the motion and
and
David
David,
seconded.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do a roll call. Dave?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Tom?
Yes.
April?
Yes.
And Hillary?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, item number 2, disclosure of conflict of interest. Does anybody on the board have a conflict that they wish to disclose at this time?
I don't feel that it is a conflict, but just for transparency, I am going to be signing a contract this week for investment in community solar. So don't believe it's a conflict at all. It's not with this company.
Okay.
But just wanted to throw it out there.
And do we even know if that is a community solar project? Probably.
I don't. No.
There's
Do you know,
nobody
Jay?
here.
Okay. Well, we can have the board vote on whether or not we feel it's a conflict. So I am comfortable with Dave still talking about that project.
No conflict.
And Hillary?
No conflict.
Okay, thank you. So we will move right on to item number 3. Kevin Violet is requesting review of a 24 lots multifamily development on City View Drive. This review is in accordance with section 9.4 of the subdivision and site plan review ordinance. We've had a bunch of presentations from you, Jeff, so we won't make you keep repeating yourself. But did you have a chance to look over the findings and facts and everything?
I did, yeah. And I don't have any questions on those. I think there are a couple things we discussed that we'd like to do. And as we get to some of the conditions, we need to sort out condition 1, either number 1 or number 2, decide which one you want to do on that. That's
Okay.
an either or, I guess.
So if the board is comfortable, we can move forward with going through 1 through 9, and then we can discuss the conditions after that. Any objection? Great.
Make a motion to read by number only.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Hillary. Any further discussion? Great. Jeff, do you have it in front of you?
I do.
Okay. So, item number 1,
True.
number 2,
True.
number 3,
True.
number 4,
True.
number 5,
True.
number 6,
True.
and number 7,
True.
number 8,
True.
and number 9.
True.
Okay, so conditions. Does the board have any comments that they'd like to make about the conditions that we have in front of us? Okay. Jeff, do you have something, Tom?
I'm just going through the findings and facts, and I see the 5-year extension to complete the project. So that would be 5 years in addition to the 24 months that is typical?
No,
Is that-
in lieu of the 24 months, I believe.
5 years
Okay,
total
in
for
total.
the project?
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, 5 years in addition to the 2 that you already have, or 5 years instead of the 2?
Instead of the 2 is the way I understand it.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
total of 5 years.
Yeah, we have to change the wording.
So it would be
Yeah.
a 3-year extension?
Yeah,
Yep.
which would be similar to what we did for the other developers, I believe.
I
We
think
gave them a
one
1 year.
You gave
Yeah.
them a 1-year extension.
Okay.
But they'll be bringing that plan back, so you'll have a chance to give them more time if you
Okay.
decide you want to do that.
So 5 years total. The construction on the first part starting when, Jeff?
As soon as he's able to get materials, I think he's planning on starting this fall.
Okay.
That's his intent anyway.
Hopefully get things framed or,
Yeah.
and then,
Well, first he's doing some infrastructure, so he's got to put a water line in. The sewer line is in place already,
okay.
but yes, he has to do the water line and
And-
start the road.
Power and internet is
Yep.
not in place yet?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. I think that,
For the sale of the dwelling units,
Yes.
I would like to propose option 2. Approve
So-
the sale of up to 4 homes. I believe we have to decide between
yeah.
the two of those.
So, the options.
correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure you have to decide, but if the council says, no, we don't want to make this deal, then he can go ahead and build the road anyway.
Oh, even better. We'll leave it up to them.
Leave it up to council, yeah.
Approve, okay. So, just so everybody knows, the option 1 says, accept City View Drive, which is the option that Mr. Violet will be, or the road that Mr. Violet will be creating. Or, as soon as City Council accepts City View Drive, or City Council approves the sale of up to 4 homes on an unfinished but guaranteed City View Drive. Okay. Any other comments from the board? Okay. Jeff, any,
No, I'm all set.
and you're all set with it being either or?
Yeah, I understand that it can be either or.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any discussion from the public? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the project.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's like a race over here. Okay, we'll do a roll call. Dave?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Tom?
Yes.
April?
Yes.
And Hillary?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Not a problem.
Okay, item number 4. I don't know the proper way to pronounce this, but Invalion Technologies Corporation is requesting review for revisions to a previously approved site plan for a solar farm at 208 Rod Road. This review is in accordance with section 9.4 of the subdivision and site plan review ordinance.
Present.
Okay.
Wants to present
Step,
here?
yeah, just so the people on Zoom can hear.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, I should have made sure that you could hook into this.
Do
Ally,
we,
you-
well, do we have,
I
we
can
have
do that if you'd like.
Can you do that?
I
Can
can.
you
If you want to,
project that up onto the screen? That would be wonderful.
We can share them, Dave.
Or David, can you do it easily, David?
Tom Abraham.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, right. So if you don't mind getting it down there at the end.
What would I need to share? Is it the email that you sent at 1:53?
Plan.
This one?
Okay.
Oh, yes, yeah, they sent it with, they moved the black boxes. It's also in the shared space.
Yeah, this is perfect, thank you.
I think David's bringing it up.
Oh, if someone else wants to, that's
Well,
fine too.
yeah, but if you can
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
thank you very much. So,
It's just being very slow.
developer's responsible for registering the plan at the registry of deeds. So, we like to have one signed copy in the city.
Okay.
And you would take one signed copy to the registry.
That works.
But if you want copies for yourself, then they'll sign as many as you could.
For for posterity, of course.
Okay, well, let me try to share this.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
We already approved this.
Yes.
For rezoning. we didn't
We've
do site
really
plan.
already approved the solar farm too.
A few changes. I'd like to see an overlay of the homes.
I don't think.
I know.
Ally may not have the one without the box.
Nice work.
Okay, yeah, all right.
What is it playing off of? What word?
Innovation, value, eons.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
They got it up. So we're,
Two energy cap.
All right.
Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you.
are you guys all set?
We are all set.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
Thanks. So, hi, my name is Chris Byers. I'm working here with Tom Wu. So, Tom is the CEO of Invalion, and I'm working as a consultant for Tom. I have a renewable energy consulting business based out of North Yarmouth, Maine. So, worked a ton in the state doing planning board meetings, and now we're finding that these projects are finally going to construction after doing a ton of permitting, and things are getting real. So Tom's company has been hired to actually construct the project. And as I understand, the project was approved at the planning board. You guys put signatures on the plans. Good to go. It met all the specs and everything like that with your fire department and whatnot. But it was our understanding that Rick, the landowner, came to the planning board and requested a zoning change for the, does this show up on the screen? It does? Can you see that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
My light? My laser.
Can't see the light.
I don't think you
The
can.
light-
moving my mouse.
Oh.
Dave, I thought that your light was the cursor.
It's a
but-
magic
that's
eraser.
right.
Is that
Yeah.
Ally?
But he's right. Dave's got it. He's got the right idea. He's doing a great job being Vanna or whoever's doing that. So the idea was that the whole property was rezoned for solar farm district. Now it needs to potentially be rezoned for a subdivision. And so it was our understanding that the planning board was looking for some modifications to accommodate that future growth, or the future development. So what we did is we made some changes in working with Ann, and I kind of got CC'd on your thing, so I'm in the loop on what you've sent Tom to this point. So I thought I would just review what changes we've made to the site plan, how we're working with the landowner for future consideration of the subdivision, and then we can take questions from you guys after that. I think that's really all we're here to go over. So I think the first big change is the tree screening. So tree screening originally was proposed along 8 Rod Road on the west side. You can see that going north-south. Yep, right there. There was also a community garden and some parking area there, but it sounds like the Parks Department was not interested in moving forward on that, so we have been instructed to remove that from the site plan. So it's really just an access road coming in. I also just want to point out that the electrical is actually coming from the east side over here, from the kind of that development that's, maybe they're currently installed. I wasn't there till, I think it was last year, but I think they're constructed. So anyway, the power comes in across the stream from the east, but the access road is just coming in from the west side. That is still the same as what was previously approved. But what we did is we actually moved a lot of the tree screening in closer to the fence. We're somewhat constrained because here, I'm going to step away from the mic briefly. There's some wetlands that are meadow wetlands in there, and so we want those trees that we plant to be successful. Certainly, we could put them in the ground and probably obtain a permit for that, but that doesn't really meet the purpose and need of the tree screening. So what we have done is we've found a way to clump them in areas where we still feel like they meet the purpose and need of tree screening the area, not only from 8 Rod Road and potential housing development, but also from the southern end where we have especially the Hart property to the southeast, and then I'm trying to recall the name of the abutters here to the southwest. But the idea is to plant trees really kind of anywhere where these abutters might have some impact. One change that we did add more trees to from what was not on the original plan is right here. So we basically just added some more trees in that location. So we actually probably have more tree screening in terms of the quantity of the trees. So this plan is somewhat conceptual in the sense that it's showing where we have the trees proposed. On the approved plan, it did indicate that a final planting plan would be provided. So Tom's company is going to work with, a landscape architecture firm that would provide detailed drawings of not only the species but the exact locations of those to meet that purpose and need. Really sticking with an evergreen type species as the primary source type of vegetation that would be planted. So that's, I think, the biggest change. And I think you had some questions about, where Rick's proposed rezoning was, which is basically anything west of the fence is where he was proposing this rezoning to happen. But we're working with Rick on that plan, and we actually don't really have anything that's totally official yet in terms of where those building lots would exactly go. But I think the idea is that we would just work with Rick to make sure that these plantings are in sync with what he's trying to plan ahead for. And if there were any changes that need to happen, we'd be happy to come back to the planning board. But this was our best guess with the amount of information we were given so that we can make sure you're happy and also not hinder any future development that's happening. So another change that I think is potentially different, but just wanted to clarify, is that we are making sure the road is 20 feet. So that's shown as such. I believe it was shown that way in the past, and the fire department had shared that, but I just wanted to confirm it is still 20 feet wide. And because the community garden was removed, therefore there was a gate out there, just like maybe 50 feet in from on the access road, that also had a Knox box on it. So we've removed that gate as well as the Knox box so that it's just a straight passage in for first responders. So the first point of access, and really the only point of access within the fence, is actually right at where the road meets the tree plantings there. Yep. So around there, a little bit north of there. Yep. So that's where the Knox box will be to meet whatever standards the fire department requires.
Okay.
I believe that's all the changes off the top of my head. We got I'm a little bit rushed because we were like way up the road. The Google did not help us
Sorry.
with our directions. So,
I'm telling you.
yeah.
It's not the first time I've heard that.
Yep.
Not even today. Hillary has a question, I believe.
Thanks. I think it looks great. I guess my only question was just about the tree screening. Does that actually interfere with your project in terms of the trees blocking sun on the solar panels?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you see can you see the screen, Hillary, that we're
Oh yeah, I mean
sharing?
I've actually got it through email on my computer as well at
Perfect.
home, so no problem.
Sure. So the circles are slightly different sizes. You can see anywhere where
Yeah.
it's like south of the array or east and west of the array are intended
Yeah.
to be smaller plantings that would not grow to 20 feet. And anything that's more
Right.
on the kind of northwest, northeast, north side are larger trees. So, but
Okay.
overall, once the project is built, it goes into the operation and maintenance mode. And so if for some reason a tree grows too tall, their job is to manage it and make sure that it stays in conformance with the ordinance, but also that the trees are alive, but also that it doesn't affect the function of the project.
But those are panels on the ground, right?
They are raised off the ground, so the leading edge, which is kind of like the bottom. I don't know if you can see me. Am I like on camera right now? My hand gestures.
Yeah, I see
But
you. Yeah.
the bottom edge of the panel is 36 inches off the ground. So
Right.
they're raised slightly so that the higher end of the panels are probably around 9-10 feet, something like that. So we designed these
okay.
projects so that they can have the tree screening can coexist with also maximizing energy production.
Great. Okay. I mean, I want the tree screening, but obviously it sort of defeats the purpose if you've got any trees sort of casting shade on them. So was just checking.
Sure. Good question.
Any other questions from the board?
Where on this site plan does the grid connection occur to the pole
Yep.
grid?
Sure. It's right here.
Okay. It's close to that. Is that a ravine or?
Yeah, there's a stream
Yep.
there. It's a depression. You know, it's not fairly deep, but what we're doing is we're spanning over that,
Okay.
so we don't need to cut a road. Everything from where the solar panels are all the way up to, is it Punky Road? Am I right there? Punky Lane?
Meadows or-
Punky
yeah,
Meadows.
something like
You know
that,
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everywhere up to that road where the CMP poles are belongs to the customer. And so CMP requires that they have the ability to bring their bucket truck and access their own equipment. So we cited all of their equipment actually sort of nestled within the existing poles that were there. And Rick did a pretty good job of planning ahead for this solar. And so he put in the size of poles and oriented in a way that we could actually not have to almost reinvent the wheel. So I don't expect really much to change in sort of what that looks like out there, but that's where it's going to. And part of the reason for that is I don't believe there's three-phase on 8 Rod Road, so we needed to bring it in from a location where it was much easier to access. Hence, typically we like to co-locate those things, but this was a unique property.
Great. Any other questions from the board? Okay, questions from the public? Okay, so, okay. Questions or comments? You have to come up to the mic, though.
So, I'm Todd Hart, the one butter, okay, that you surrounded me with. My question is, there's only one dot here, and then there's double dots. But on this line right here, there's only singles. Yep. I'm asking why.
I just have to have everybody speaking into the microphone so Hillary can hear
Okay,
you.
oh, okay. So that's one question. I don't know what the original plan was. 20 feet seems not what we discussed, I guess 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, whatever it was. I know it's 50 feet all around my other property from Rick, and now it's 20. I'm just, why is it changed? That's my other question. Was 50 on my other property, and it's 20 now. And then there's only the smaller trees, because she brought up, there's bigger trees on the other side, but on the south side, on my side, they're smaller. And I get why, somewhat. That still doesn't fix the problem, that's your reason, but not my reason. I've been there for 100 years or 70 years.
And can you address the buffer change?
Yeah, the buffer requirement is different for mobile home park
Park.
than it is for.
Your mic.
The buffering requirement is different for a mobile home park than it is for a solar farm. That's why.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm actually glad you brought that up as a discrepancy. What I'm noticing from the plans that you had originally approved, that there was a double row of trees in there, so we are going to do that. So we just need to update, like a zigzag pattern, just like you see on the west side of your property. So we gotta update that, but absolutely, totally needs to be the same as what was previously approved. So don't mean to pull a fast one on you. And we're happy to chat with you outside as well if you want to hang around the meeting. I think it'd be good to meet you and for you to meet Tom so that you can understand and be in the loop on stuff. I've got a couple ideas maybe that we can share. So offline, I think would be helpful outside of the planning board. So, yep, get his contact info. I think you got to come to the mic. Yeah, we got to do the mic thing. We
Sorry,
do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hart, you have to speak into the
Yeah.
mic because Hillary won't be able to hear you, so. And we used to have a little mobile one, I don't know what happened to it.
So one question I noticed, right in this, is that a bridge? But you got something, looks like a bridge? That's my question, because that is a water spot.
This is fun. It's like musical chairs. No, it's actually fill. So what we're doing is there's kind of two wetlands that come in and they converge. Yep, right there is a bit of a low spot. And so what we're doing is we're installing two culverts, one for each drainage, and then the gravel fill it'll fill the wetland, but the culverts will be installed to continue to allow water passage through there. So we've got a permit from the Army Corps and the DEP to perform that activity. That's our way of getting across that wetland without impacting its function and value. Won't act as a dam also, that's the other concern, right? So we need to allow that passage of water. Yep. It's very hard. We're happy to provide you also with a full set of plans so you don't have to like squint your eyes. It's really difficult to see these plans sometimes, so. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I had a question for maybe Mr. Hart. So this is a yes/no, so I can just report whatever the answer is if you don't want to go up to the mic. When you're looking from your property, this is an uphill slope, a gradual uphill slope to where or is it down?
It's pretty flat.
It's pretty flat. Yeah, I'm reading the contours. It looks like it's almost a foot per
Facing-
contour, but
It's pretty flat, straight back. To the right, it's got a little bit of a knoll. To the
Right.
The side that he said only had one tree.
right.
That's the side that's got a little bit of a knoll.
Okay.
It does have a little, not huge. And
Right.
The rest of it's flat. That's flat right across.
Okay. Thank you. That was pretty much it.
And this is just a yes/no for you guys. You are going to plant mature trees, right? Not like trees that are gonna have to grow in 20 years? Sorry. I thought it could be a yes/no.
Yes, so the trees will be 4 to 6 feet tall.
Okay.
When they're planted. If you plant trees that are 6 to 8 feet tall, you run the risk, certainly, that would be great, right? And we're willing to do that. But you run the risk of them not surviving because they require so much water that they'll probably die. So we tend to go with more of something that's the sure plan that also isn't a tiny little sapling either. So
Right.
4 to 6 feet is what we shoot for, and do the best to source those with nurseries. It's pretty hard to source trees right now, strangely. I don't know, but that's our goal. That's our intent, is to plant 4 to 6 foot tall trees.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because the Harts have had problems on their properties with buffers in the past, with
Sure.
trees dying and the buffer not
Sure.
basically failing.
That's why I want to go with
and
a sure
it was a
plan.
very long process to get it remedied, so I wanted to make sure that.
Right. Yeah, I totally get that, and I think there's a right way to do that, and that's why we want to work with a landscape architect. Seems pretty simple to put some trees in the ground, but let's
Right.
do the right ones for the right soil type so that they are successful and that you don't have a problem in 3 years with a bunch of little brown little guys here not working out. So, yep. Again, that's a good question also to connect with Tom on down the road. Tree planting is just kind of like further out, but working with Tom and just asking your questions, get an idea of what are these going to look like. It's totally reasonable for you to ask those questions during the build process. Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Do you need us to? Do we have findings and facts for this?
No,
Okay.
because it's a minor
It's just a
revision,
minor
so
revision.
I would just vote to approve it
Okay.
or not, as you see fit.
Okay. Could we take off the plans, Ally, so that we can see Hillary
That's
again?
me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, Ally, come on.
Ally, if you could please read my mind and do things that you don't have access to. So I'll entertain a motion to approve this revision to the site plan.
So moved?
Okay, do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Was that
Dave?
David?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Tom?
Yes.
April?
Yes.
And Hillary?
Yes.
Awesome.
That was Tom who moved and David who seconded?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you'll make those revisions and then get us a plan to sign?
sign it at the next meeting or
whenever you get it to us, yeah.
They'll come in.
Yeah, or we can go into City Hall to
Yeah.
sign it.
No problem. We'll get you those this week.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Sorry for getting sent to Fairfield.
We did go to Fairfield. I was like, we're crossing the town line. This feels bad. Yeah.
And Front Street is one way still, so don't go the wrong way on Front
I don't
Street.
go downtown Waterville anymore.
Okay, item number 5. Waterville Redevelopment Company 3 LLC is requesting a review for revisions to a previously approved subdivision plan for the Seton Center at 30 Chase Avenue. This review is in accordance with Section 9.4 of the Subdivision and Site Plan Review Ordinance. It's your time to shine. Do we need? Okay, thank you. I can attempt to. Share.
Oh, thank you.
Haven't changed,
Okay, excellent.
except I took off the preliminary.
Okay, and did you change the name of the, wait a minute. I'm confused. Yeah, on the final, the black and white version, did you change the name of this abutter?
Why it's not two?
No, it's not him anymore.
It's resold.
It's
It
blue-
resold.
Blue Sky?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, a question from the member of the public. Yep, Stephanie, can you hear us? You're muted still. I don't.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Yep.
Yes. My name is Stephanie Ingalls, and I just wanted to make the board aware that I'm the representing agent and the property manager for the owner of the 2 Seton Center Woodford's location and the 30 Chase Ave, Joe Manisto. He's unavailable right now, so I'm the representing agent.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We could just leave her in there, Ally.
Okay, ready for me?
Yes, I just want to see if we can get the plans up on. Yes, I've got them ready to go. You do? Okay, so Ally will share her screen so Hillary can see.
Thank you so much.
It's pretty sophisticated.
We're getting
Like
the
a
Zoom
lot of
thing right down.
electronics.
It's only taken us a couple years,
Yeah.
but we're getting it
Courtesy
down.
of COVID.
Right, right.
Okay, take it away.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Mattson. I'm one of the owners of Waterville Redevelopment 3, who's before you tonight seeking a minor change to an existing permit. I'd like to introduce my partner, Dave Francoeur, here in the front, and Kane Coffin, who is the surveyor and will actually have the technical information. And basically, we're here tonight to seek a change to a permit we obtained in 2018 that I think was re-upped in 2020. It was during COVID that I last saw you all. And the change that we're looking for tonight is to go from 2 pieces of the Seton building. We came before you to separate the building into 2 pieces so that each would have a legal ownership that was different, which allows for financing, because they're very different types of financing. And we're looking to extend that to 3 by taking the parking lot, which you can see over here behind the building, and putting that into a 3rd ownership. So nothing else changes, no change to the plan that was presented for residential or for commercial. This is really just to allow the financing to occur. And that's basically it.
Great. Any questions from the board? Okay, any questions from members of the public? Okay. Yeah, sure.
I think you have to come up, sorry. But I'll stand up here with you.
That's all right.
Okay.
Could you go into a little bit more detail as to how that affects the financing by separating it? I'm sure you're putting them into 3 separate LLCs. And what's the economic changes to those LLCs that, you know, why are you doing that? Okay.
Could we put the map back up?
You're at 2 maps too, by the way. Sheet 1 and sheet 2.
Okay, there, do you have both maps? I do. Great.
So the question was why, and now I understand what you were saying. Sorry, from the distance. So initially, and I'm just going to step away for a second, this Seton Tower, the front part of the building, which is the tall part of the building, our plan is to place that into financing with Maine Housing, who provides the tax credits and the financing for affordable housing projects. And because of that, they only want that as collateral. They don't want other commercial income. So the original reason to do it was specifically for that. The commercial area, which is the rest of the building, would likely be financed with a local lender, a community bank, but certainly different than Maine Housing. But even the commercial unit will use historic tax credits because the whole building is financed with historic tax credits. The issue is that this third parcel is unnecessary to the commercial piece. It doesn't add any real additional value. I mean, there's parking there, but by separating it off, it allows us in the future to potentially do something different with it. But if it was in the same collateral package, we wouldn't be able to do that. Or we'd have to go back to the lender and ask for permission, which is, you know, is a difficult thing to do. So that really is the only reason.
Do you have financing in place for all this?
Well, Maine Housing, we've applied to, and that's a process we're going through right now, and but have not committed to it. It could be another 6 months or so before we go through that. The commercial unit, we have not approached a lender yet. It needs to get a little further along. It's in a deep abatement process right now, removing asbestos. If there's one thing a lender loves, it's asbestos. So we'd like to kind of get that behind us, have it fully remediated. The building is in a VRAP with the state of Maine. So once that is done, the VRAP is the Voluntary Response Action Program, which is like an indemnity, environmental indemnity. But you have to follow certain things, and one of them is we have to abate the asbestos, which was extensive. It's about 70% done.
And Kevin, just to remind the public, because it has been a little while since you've been here, how many units do you suspect you're going to fit in there?
Well, so the plan that's submitted that got approved is 67 units, of which I think 11 are 2-bedroom and the balance are 1-bedroom units. And that, again, is only in the tower portion. The basement of the tower would be storage for those units, so the kind of places that residences can have bikes and things like that. The balance of the property over here, the balance of the building, I should say, is about 40,000 square feet. The historic requirements require us to keep major walls as they are. So when you walk in that lower level, which is on grade, it has a variety of hallways and different walls that have to stay there. So our plan is to rent out those areas for tempered storage, but they kind of have to stay the way they are.
Is that because of Maine Housing or because of its historical tax credits?
Historical tax credits, National Park Service.
So they
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to be other units?
No,
Yeah.
or we wouldn't be able to change those
Right,
walls. It's all
until-
governed by that permit that's in place.
And where's the parking for the residents?
The resident parking
Yeah,
is all the way along here.
That's what-
That's
okay.
all existing parking. Yeah.
and how many spots are in that lot?
Kane,
It's on the plan.
okay.
I'm sorry, I've missed that detail. Oh, 149 is what it says.
There's a lot of
If
parking.
someone's speaking, I couldn't hear it. I'm sorry.
149 spots.
Allison, are you able to point on your screen where those spots are?
Oh, David.
Yeah, see when I point that way. Yeah, thank you. And that's existing
Thanks.
impervious area.
Great. Yeah, you probably don't have to do very much the parking areas, do you?
We do have to
One of
restore.
the benefits of it being a hospital prior.
Yes, we do have to restore the garden in front. That's also deemed historic.
Oh,
So that's part of the plan.
Nice.
okay.
Yeah, bluestone.
The weeds are historic too? No.
Those are gone now. You haven't been there for a few weeks.
Oh, they're gone?
Well,
You didn't do it yourself, did you,
tamed.
Ken?
Oh, I was right out there.
All right, did Hillary have her hand up or?
I do.
Okay,
Um,
sorry, I
and
can't see you, so.
No problem whatsoever. I raised it kind of late. I think the gentleman actually kind of asked my question. It just took a minute. I was sort of sitting here thinking, why? You've sort of, you've answered it. I think you said something. You said something that kind of made me think. You said if we wanted to do something different with it. I guess you were referring to the parking lot.
Correct,
when
yes.
you said that?
Yes.
I mean, well, what else would you do with it?
Well, for instance, if it was used simply as a parking lot, which right now it's
Yeah.
rented to Colby, so they're in a lease and they use it.
Right.
You may want to finance that separately for that use and keep it separate. You might want to sell that off separately to somebody who just wanted a parking lot. And this flexibility would allow that to happen. But if it was contained with the commercial space, you wouldn't be able to do that. So it's really just for flexibility. But there's certainly no plan right now.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Stephanie?
Yes, and I know, Kevin, that we have not been able to have a discussion with Joe yet. My question is, while looking at that map, 2 Eaton centers over where Woodford's is that you're aware of, what traffic pattern have you thought of to direct traffic for these units away from the school that's over there?
Well, I think I haven't really, other than signage. I mean, I see what you're saying because I, as you know, I built that building and then sold that to Joe. And, but it's the only thing that's there. So there's not a lot of other traffic demands right now. When there are residences, I think we're just going to have to come up with some signage. And as you know, we're working on a collective association. And I think that would be part of the plan, not just water, sewer, who pays for plowing, but also probably signage. You bring up a good point.
Is this going to be low-income housing?
No, it's workforce housing, which is, it's pegged at the area median income. So basically what Maine Housing does is you can only charge a certain amount per unit. But that's different than traditional low-income housing, where it's the rent is subsidized with payments. That's not this. This is at 60% of area median income.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I am aware that I've reviewed some of the plans that you were going to be looking at the parking lot. So that I was assuming that you were going to be looking at the traffic pattern with there being a higher, having 67 units does have a high traffic flow and making sure that there was going to have something in place to help mediate the traffic away from the learning center.
Yeah, it's something we can definitely work on together, to get good signage, correct signage.
Okay.
Yeah. There has also been traditionally an issue with people cutting through from First Rangeway. And for a while, we closed it down, but then other people were irritated by that because they like to use it as a shortcut. So we opened it back up. But we're always open to, if it's causing an issue in the neighborhood.
Is this map that you have, is this a recent map that you did? Because Woodford did extend their playground, and I believe it was by 6 feet out. I don't think it made any impairment into the parking lot, but I just wanted to make sure that it did account for that.
Yeah, this is more, the survey is more lot lines, and the buildings are, I don't want to say approximations, but they're not,
We did locate
Okay.
the new building.
And I know
Yes.
that we have, we can always make concessions, obviously, and like you said, put out the signs when it comes to plowing over there and making sure that we're managing the expectations of the students and the plowing individuals. And I think the signing, as long as we make sure we're giving them the proper information, that would be good too.
Right,
I just
right.
do want to have that traffic pickup for the parents there, making sure that we're keeping that safety in mind for
Yep,
them.
it's a good point. Yeah, we'll have to work on that together to craft our management plan for traffic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hillary?
I'm just going to add that the traffic for the school is actually on the other side. It's not on Chase. It's over on Mount Maracy, where I live, as a matter of fact, on my street. So, you know, the big traffic lines are not going to be on Chase. They're going to be on the other side of the street. Not to say that traffic isn't an issue on Chase, but a lot of the traffic is caused by people using Chase to cut through on 95, actually probably cutting through maybe to get to other places in town. But it's generally not an issue on that side for Mount Maracy Academy.
Hillary,
Um,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't think
Yeah.
we're talking about Mount Maracy, are we? We're talking
No.
about the daycare that's on the premises. So there,
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
My mistake.
so
Okay,
there was a
sorry.
daycare
Yep.
built on the
That's
premises.
Okay.
correct. Two
Yeah.
Seaton is Woodford Center.
Got it. Yep. No, yep. Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Which these are both things that we need in our city, daycares and affordable housing. So this is a very important complex. Are there any other comments from the public? Anything that you'd like to add, Kevin?
Only that we're really happy to finally be working on this building. I mean, there's been, I don't know how many dozens of tons of debris removed, but just to give you an idea of the complexity of what seems to be, and I'll be very brief, but what seems to be a very straightforward process, which is just cleaning up the basement, it's 40,000 feet, requires, first of all, full abatement of the whole area, which requires ceilings to be removed, which are historic, so they all have to be documented. These ceilings aren't sheetrock, they're mesh and plaster. So there's tons and tons of ceiling that has to come down, then abatement, then all of these pipes, which were for old hospital purposes, removed. It's an amazing sequence of things for what seems like a very simple job. Let's just clean this basement up. So it's taking time, but it's just great to be doing something.
And how many units do you expect in the first phase that, you were hoping to do this in phases, correct?
Well, the housing will be done at one time.
Okay.
It may be placed in service in 2 phases, like 32 and the balance.
Yep.
But they'll all be under construction at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
and hopefully within the year.
Main housing, as you know, is busy.
Yes.
So we respond as quickly as we can, and they do too. But I think what they told us during their walkthrough is they have 10 or 11 times the average volume right now.
Yeah.
They normally have 10 or 11 projects. They have over 100 in
They had a
review.
lot of new programs.
A lot of new programs, over $1 billion. I mean, it's just, so they're doing the best they can, but we all wished it, and I think they wished it was faster.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to see it move forward as well.
Thank you.
Rebecca,
Does Rebecca?
do you mind coming up to the,
Do you mind if I linger next to you?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Green, City Councilor, Council Chair. And my question is whether you've heard from Maine State Housing on the timeline of when you'll know. And also, just if you would review the number of units and what is workforce housing and what is market rate, if there's a market rate component. Thanks.
So I'll take the last first, if that's okay. They're all based on area median income, so there's no market rate in that building. They're all based on AMI, as they call it. In terms of timing, the building is built and I'm not sure how many have been in there, but it's completely concrete. The whole building, floors are waffle slab, everything is concrete, which is why I think it was a fallout shelter, during the Cold War. But what that means for housing, when you're converting that to housing, the energy requirements of the 60s, being someone from the 60s, were different than they are today. It's very stringent now. And Maine housing, one of the top things that they're focused on is energy efficiency. And the reason I'm going into this detail is that particular type of construction makes it difficult because these are concrete floors that go all the way to the exterior walls. We cannot change the exterior because of the historic permit. So there's a process we're in right now to prove, which you can imagine is a whole cottage industry of people who do building envelope engineering, and they come up with the solution to meet the energy requirements promulgated by Maine Housing. But that can take 90 days. And then so we're in the middle of that. Then we submit it, then they ask questions. So I wished it was more like, well, you've got like a DEP permit. You have 6 months, and unfortunately, questions beget questions. I mean, we're hopeful. We have a timeline that we would like, but it's really based on them, on the agency. The energy efficiency thing's what we're not battling, but we're working on right now.
You have to spray foam the whole.
Yes, and that's the answer. And I wished I could just put that on a piece of white paper and submit that to them, which we tried. No, I need the full engineering study to show that that will meet the requirements, the R value requirements. Yeah.
So what is your hopeful timeline?
My hopeful timeline is it's August right now. We would love to have this closed within 6 months. And closed means we could then start work. Obviously, we're working right now on everything that we can do. Abatement, demolition, all these things have to happen. So we're not really losing time right now, but 6 months.
Great.
Yeah.
What is 60% of AMI around here?
Well, it depends on the number of people in your family.
Oh,
does.
right.
But I can tell
It's
you.
on the internet.
I have it on my phone, but not on the top of my head. But I
Yeah,
can
just
share
Google
that with
it.
you.
Yeah, okay.
Maine Housing gives you the county by county. One of the things, this is, I think, interesting, may not be. One of the reasons this project's been delayed is that Waterville used to be designated a hard-to-develop area by the federal government. And what that did was it gave your basis, which is used for the tax credit calculations, a boost of 30%. And then in 2019, you left that. The community left that because the income had risen so high that it was no longer hard to develop. Hard to develop is simply income-based. So it removed our basis boost, and we had to, this was originally a HUD project that when we last came before you. Then we had to move that to Maine Housing because of that. So, it's never a dull day.
What's your anticipated project cost?
25 million just for the tower. Sounds like a lot, and it is. And it used to be a lot less, but it's 25 million. Just for the tower.
Wow.
Yeah. It's expensive.
Okay.
So I have David. Sorry. No, it's his expertise.
Any other questions from the public? Okay, hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to accept the change.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, we'll do a roll call. Dave?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Tom?
Yes.
April?
Yes.
Hillary?
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Want me to make that change and then get you the plans?
Do you care whether he
Don't.
changes the name on there or
No.
not? Okay.
I certainly don't.
If we just leave it the way it is, then they can go ahead and sign it
Okay.
if they want.
Thank
So
you.
we can sign them tonight, yep. Great. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
But it'd be
Was that
great
a
if you all
movement, April?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second.
Seconded.
Thank you.
So if the board members would sign.
Yep.
you could
Good
go
night,
get-
Hillary.